we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and model a pretty simple power strip to plug everything into. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me maximize my camera view here. And I'm going to open up Alt-6, an image clip viewer. I'm going to import an image clip, and I actually have an image here that I got off the internet of an actual power strip here. Okay, so it's pretty simple design, very easy to do actually. So let's go ahead and get started on this. And of course I'm going to start off a cube object here. Okay, let's go ahead and lengthen this out a little bit. I'm going to make this part up here first, from here to here. So that's probably going to be one of the easiest parts to do. I'm going to turn off my grid, take this polygon and push it down, and now with that done, let me see, let me take this, maybe push it this way a little bit more. Control D to extrude that. Take that edge right there and push it down like so. About here looks good. Take that polygon there, extrude that and pull it out. I'm going to pull it out to about here looks good. We need to put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 outlets. I could always change the size of that later if I want to. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that edge, Alt and middle click that edge to select the entire ring of edges all the way around. And right click, split edges with split control. And I'm going to place this split about here's good. And now I'm going to take this polygon here, I'm going to right click, I'm going to extract and keep the old one. Freeze modeling on this new one. I'm going to switch COG on. I'm going to scale this down a little bit, something like this will work out just fine. Okay. I'm going to go back here, I'm going to select this edge. I'm going to click that one to get the whole loop all the way around, and I'm going to hit delete to get rid of that. And I won't be needing it anymore, that's why I got rid of it. Okay. Alright, so let's actually go ahead and work on this and get this part done. But before we do that, we actually have to come in here. Select this polygon, we're going to inset it, and let's see how much we have to inset that. And I'm going to leave it like that for now. I'm going to select this polygon, it's right up here, this one. And I have to start modifying this guy right here. So let's take that polygon, let's extrude it up a little bit, not too much, just a little tiny bit, something like that. Alright, now what we're going to do is actually pretty simple. I'm going to go ahead and take this guy here. I'm going to go to Modify Poly Mesh, and I'm going to go to Slice. So it's going to cut it straight down the middle. Select it, freeze modeling on that. I have to make these little slits right there where the power plug actually connects to. So let's go ahead and do that. Select that edge, Alt, middle click that edge. So you select the entire ring of edges right there. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go to Split Edges with Split Control. And I'm going to place this split about here, looks good. Select that edge, Alt, middle click that one. I'll hit the period key to repeat my last command. And I'm going to bring this to about, I think here looks pretty good. Select that edge, Alt, middle click any of those edges, select that ring. Again, I'm going to go ahead and slice this. And I'm looking for a split with split control here. I'm going to make a split about up here. I'm going to pick that ring right there, hit the period key to repeat my last command. I'm going to bring this to about here. And now I want to do this little section, this little spot that's right there. It's actually going to be pretty easy to do. Select that ring of edges right there. I'm going to right click, split that with split control. Bring that down to make the bottom part right there. So it's going to be about here. Going to make another split. And this is going to be the top part. So looks like it's going to be something around here. And then let's make the width. So I'm going to select those edges right there, right click, split that with split control again, and that's going to be about right here is where I'm guessing that's going to have to go. Okay. Alright, so now that we got that, what we can do is go into a top view here, select half of the polygons and delete them. Okay. And now let's go ahead and take this polygon here. And we're going to extrude it down and simply pull it down quite a bit and then delete it. Alright, so let's keep working here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is take this guy right here, and actually here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this whole thing, Alt right click, I'm going to symmetrize it so we get it on over here to the other side. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two polygons right there, and let's actually make them wider. Let's go with COG here, global, and we're going to make it something like that. And then this over here, we're going to actually go over here and make this a little bit wider. And maybe we'll make it a little bit longer. So it looks something like that, which actually looks a lot better. So I'm going to take these polygons, Control D to extrude them, pull them down. I'm going to delete them. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this polygon here, or this edge, push it upward like that. And with it selected, I'm going to right click and I'm going to bevel it. And maybe I'll put a couple of subdivisions in there like that. Okay. That's not too bad. Alright, that's actually pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. Now let me just come in here and widen this one up as well. Grab that polygon back there and pull it backwards a little bit. And maybe I went a little bit overboard here. Alright, I think that part is ready to go. So now with that done right there, all we have to do is take this guy right here, push him down into the power outlet, and we're gonna have to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. So let's go ahead and make 6, and I hope 6 fit. Anyway, I'll make 6 fit, don't worry about that. So if this guy's selected, I'm going to hit Control D. I'm going to move him down to about here. It's good. And actually, there's probably one more thing that I should have done. Forgot to bevel this. Let me freeze modeling. Then I'm going to freeze all transforms on this thing and freeze modeling again, of course. I'm going to select that edge, Alt, middle click that one. Shift select that one. Shift Alt middle click, select that one. And make sure that you have all these edges all the way around selected. Now I'm just going to go ahead and bevel that. Maybe a couple of subdivisions will work right there really good. Okay, now we're ready to go. Alright, so now let's go to the top view. Control D to duplicate. Move this one about right there. And hit Control D again. Move this one about here. It's good. Then we'll just hit Control D again. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 2 more. 5 and 6. So select this bottom piece here. Select those vertices and move them down. Okay. So we'll move that to about right there. Go to polygon mode. Remember we have that polygon right there. Well, now we're going to start to edit that. Let's extrude that in a bit like this. And extrude it in the Z-axis here. And now all we have to do is with that extruded is to simply Control D to extrude and pull that down and into itself. So let's go to wireframe, and that's a good distance right there. That distance right there is really good. And I can see I got a few problems here with the edges on this thing. I have to go ahead and harden my edges. Yeah, I can see I'm having a shading issue here, so what I'll do is select these edges right here. Select all of those edges and right click and mark those as hard edges. And actually made no difference. So edit that out of the video. Just take a wireframe and shade it off, and it's hard to see the holes, but they're there. We have to come over here and create this little switch right there, so let's go ahead and let's do that. We can do that actually pretty easily. I'm going to take this top polygon, I'm going to extract and keep the old one, freeze modeling on that. I'm going to go ahead and extrude that, scale that in a little bit. I'm going to turn on wireframe unshaded again. And now all I'm going to do is take this guy here, extrude him up a little bit, something like this. Push him down and in a bit. And now what I'm going to do is pretty simple. I'm going to create that little switch right there, which is going to be really easy to do. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to come up here with this top polygon. I'm going to Control D to extrude it, and I'm going to scale it down. And now let me scale this in. Something like that. I want to scale it, scale this in. And I'll scale it out a little bit. I'll extrude it and pull it down like that. I'm going to select this top object here. Extrude the top polygon to make the hole for where the switch is going to go. So something like that. Control D to push it down. Then I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to extract polygons and delete. So it creates a hole right there. I'm going to extrude this up. I'm going to take the whole object and I'm going to scale it down a little bit like that. Okay, and that is actually a switch. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this guy, I'm going to select that edge, Alt middle click that edge, pick the whole loop around, the whole ring, Shift D one time to split it down the middle, and I'm going to go ahead and take this edge right here and move it down a little bit like that. And now we'll take this whole guy and maybe just rotate him a little bit like this. Maybe not too much, just a little bit. So it looks like it's in one of the positions, off or on, whatever you want. Okay, that's good. Very good. Now I'm just going to take this edge right here and I'm going to bevel it. And that actually came out pretty disgusting, so I'm not going to bevel that, edit that out of the video. Okay, now we still need to come over here and we need to model out this cable. So let's go ahead and let's do that. I'm going to model this little piece right there, little object there. So I'm going to hit Control D on this, scale it down. Extrude it, pull it out a bit. Extrude it again, scale it out a bit. And I'm going to pull it out to about this much right here. Maybe make it a little bit thinner. Okay. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this object here. I'm going to grow the selection 2 times. So I end up getting these polygons back here, these right there. I'm going to right click, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit extract polygons and delete the old ones. I'm going to freeze modeling on that. Select that edge. Alt middle click that edge right there to pick the whole ring all the way around. And now I'm simply going to right click and I'm going to bevel that. Maybe give it a couple of subdivisions rounding right there. So it looks something like this. Okay. Freeze modeling on that object. And now I'm simply going to go into the top view here. And I'm going to start to duplicate this object, this shape. And I'll make, I don't know, I think about that much is good. We don't have to make too many of them. Alright, so now let's go into the top view here. And we're going to go to create curve, and we're going to draw a curve. And we're going to start off, I'm going to snap to maybe this grid point down here. Right there maybe. And I'm going to snap also to this grid point. Keep it straight right at the beginning. And then from here I could just pretty much make it curve and make it do whatever I want, essentially. Exit the tool. Maybe I'll delete that vertex right there, that point. And maybe I'll delete another one right there. And I'm going to have to go into a side view here. And move it down in between, right in the middle of this object here. That looks good enough. Okay, so now I'm going to go to primitive, I'm going to go to polygon mesh, and I'm going to go ahead and create, let's go ahead and create a cylinder. Here's our cylinder. And what I'm going to do is knock down these subdivisions to 1 and 1. I'm going to grab these polygons right there. Actually, let me take this whole thing and increase the amount of subdivisions to about 24, which is going to work just fine. Now I'm going to pick all these polygons up here. I'm going to right click. I'm going to extract and delete the old ones. Freeze modeling. Grab the original cylinder and get rid of it. Don't need it anymore. Go to wireframe mode. And here's the curve. The end of the curve is right here. So what I need to do is take this this cylinder piece that I made right there, and I need to turn on snap to point, and I need to snap it to that point right there. See that? Once I do that, I can go ahead and just flip this over so that it's about 90 degrees. I'm also going to have to reduce the size of it, so make it a bit more narrow. Alright. Now I'm going to select all the polygons right there, all of them. Make sure you get them all. Right click, go to Extrude Along Curve, select the curve, and now let's up the subdivisions and turn on per knot. Make sure it has plenty of subdivisions. And there's our cable for the PowerStrip. And I don't really like the way that looks right there, so I can actually fix that. If I grab the curve itself, I can tag points, and I could select some of these points like this one right here and delete it to soften that up. So now that looks a lot better than before. A lot better. Might even want to grab this one and bend it a little bit like this. There you go. That's great. Okay, now all we have to do is create the little end piece here that's going to go at the end of this power outlet. So let's go ahead and let's create that piece. And it's going to be a little bit tough to do that, but I have some reference image for that. So I'm going to hit Alt 6, and I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to import. And I have a couple of images here of these little power things right here, these little power outlets, these little things. So let's go ahead and use that for reference and see what we can do. So we need to create some kind of a squarish type object here that we can use to create this shape. So what I'm going to do is pretty simple. I'm going to go to primitive and create a polygon cube. And I'm going to snap it to that point right there. Now I'm just going to move it out of the way. I just want to get it into the neighborhood here. Okay, now obviously this thing has to be smaller. So let's make it smaller. So there's the size of the cable in comparison to this object. So you can see the size comparisons there. It's pretty different. Alright, have a look at that again. Okay, I see how we need to do this. I'm going to take that one, Alt middle click that to select the entire ring. I'm going to split with split control and pull this one up a little bit like that. I'm going to take this whole thing here, this ring. I'm going to split it evenly down the middle. I'm going to select this edge and that edge, and I'm going to scale them into each other so they're closer to each other. Much closer. I'm going to take this one and pull it down a little bit. Once I do that, I'm going to bevel that one. I'll just give it one subdivision down there. We don't need too much. No need to get crazy with this. Something like that will work out just fine. And let me see where I have to go here. I have to take all these polygons right there on the side, push them in a little bit closer to get this distance from here to here. See that? And I need to narrow it down and get this distance from here to here. So let's go ahead and do that. Control D to duplicate. Move it in about from here to here. That's a good distance right there. And then we have to kind of scale it in, because that does get does seem to scale in on itself, so to speak. Something like that. Now we need to create kind of a squarish piece that goes at the end right there. Okay. I'm going to take this edge and select the entire ring. Subdivide it one time. Alt middle click to get that whole ring right there. I'm going to scale it down a little bit. Right click. I'm going to bevel. Give it some rounding. Maybe a couple of subdivisions will work out just fine. And it will. And I'm going to select this edge right here. I'm going to right click and I'm going to mark that as being a hard edge. So that looks a lot better right there. Looks more like what we have in a picture with this hard edge right here. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this polygon right there. I'm going to... Actually, you know what? I'm not going to do that. Instead, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a new polygon cube. I'm going to hold down Control and snap it right there. And I'm going to scale it down, of course. And what I'm going to do is make this little cube shape that's right here. So let's go ahead and do that. It's actually going to be pretty easy to do. Need to scale it up. It looks like it's a solid square, and it is. Move it down a little bit. Move it in and narrow it down. So it's something like this. You take this edge, alt middle click that edge. I'm going to right click and I'm going to bevel. I'm going to give it a lot of distance here. A couple of subdivisions should be fine. So we can make it like that, so we can make it actually round instead of square if we want to. But of course you could leave it basically however you want. It's really up to you. So something like this looks pretty good. And then we have to create cylinders that go right there. So let's go ahead and create that. And that'll actually be really easy to do, to be honest with you. Let's go into the top view here. With these two objects selected, I'm going to alt right click and I'm going to merge them together. Take the tolerance all the way down, delete the original. So now this is one object. Freeze modeling on that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to snap it to the center vertex right there. So now it's snapped. Let me go back to the top view here. And we can see that the power plug's facing one way and this thing is facing another way, but that's actually really easy to fix. Let's just rotate it into position basically. And then switch to local mode. And we'll just move it up. See, we still have to rotate it just a bit. Alright, so maybe something like that. And I need to start to create those little cylinder type objects there, so that's actually easy to do. I'm going to take this and I'm going to freeze modeling on it. And actually I shouldn't have done that. Let me hit Control Z to undo. I'm going to select this curve down here. Go to my side view. And there's something wrong here. This thing's making contact with the floor, and the floor is actually down here. So we need to move, essentially grab this curve, grab the points of this curve. Let's see, let's grab all these points, grab these points, and maybe this one too. Go to the side view here and move this down so that the cable is making contact with the floor, which is right here. So something like that. There you go. So now the cable is actually on the floor, which is what I should have done before, but forgot. I have to snap right there to that vertex again. It's really no big deal. So now it's facing the correct direction there. I'm going to take this guy here. I'm going to freeze modeling on it now. And I'm going to alt and click those edges right there. And I'm going to create those little ring things that are right there. I'm going to create 3 of them. So it's actually going to be pretty easy to do. I'm going to right click. I'm going to go to split with split control. And I'm actually going to move this over here. I'm going to select the ring again. I'm going to hit the period key to do another split. I'm going to put this one about here. I'm going to do another one. And I'll put it about there. Do another one. Put it about here. And I'll put another one about here. And then I'll put another one about here. So now I'm going to select that, Shift, Alt, middle click that, Shift, Alt, middle click that, Control D to extrude, and I'm going to go locally. I'm going to take COG off, and I'm going to pull this out locally, something like this. Will work out just fine. So we have our power plug. Now all we need to do is create these little pieces right here, which are going to be extremely easy to do. I mean, watch how easy this is going to be. I'm going to go to wireframe mode. I'm going to select this guy here. I'm going to grab its polygons from right there. Right click. I'm going to extract and delete because I don't need the original anymore right there. And now what I'm going to do is, let me go to a top view here. I'm going to move it to about right there. Select these polygons right there. I'm going to extrude. And of course that didn't come out too good. Let's go ahead and move in global mode. Or let's move local, but let's turn COG on. And of course that gives us a much better result. So let's scale this guy down to where it's looking more like the size of that. Place it about right here. I'll move those, move that something like that. It's actually pretty long. Want to make sure that we take, let's freeze modeling on this guy. Select all those edges right there, right click, let's bevel. 2 subdivisions I think will be fine. And we'll make it something like that, which looks more more true to the shape. It does have to be a bit thinner though, it's a bit thick right now. So let's thin it out a bit. Looks like it has to be moved over a little bit right there. Okay. Now we just need to create these two objects here, which are actually going to be pretty easy to do. I'm going to take, let me see how I can create that real quick. I'm going to take those two polygons and I'm going to inset them. I'm going to take merge off. And I'm going to inset them about this much. But then I'm going to take my scaling. Oh, and I see that's not going to work out too well right there. Yeah, it's going to scale them differently. So I'll just scale each one by one. It doesn't matter. Scale this one to about this much right there. Something like that. And I'm going to extrude it out. And actually it should be much thinner than that. So let's go ahead and grow the selection once. Let's go COG. And make it a lot thinner. Something like that will be much better. Okay. Now with that done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these edges right there. I'm going to split that. I'm actually going to make that hole that's in the middle right there, so let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to put one split right there. I'm going to repeat, put this split about maybe here. I'm going to select that, and I'm going to select that. Okay, so I'm going to move this split to about up here. Select those four again. I'm going to split again and maybe move that down like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that polygon, I'm going to hit bridge, pop a hole right there. I'm going to select all of these edges that are in the middle right there. And I'm going to go ahead and split all of those one time. Then I'm just going to select all those edges. Go to scaling. I want to make sure COG is turned on. I'm going to scale them out a bit like that. Once that's done, I'm simply going to go ahead and bevel that. So let's try giving it a bit more subdivisions, maybe 2. So it looks like something like that's going to work out just fine. And we can see we need to make some changes here. Select that, grow the selection, and I'm missing a couple of polygons right there. Make it a little bit thinner maybe. Go to vertex mode, select these vertices, go to maybe global, pull that out a little bit. That looks a lot better. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna right click here, and I'm gonna go to duplicate polygons. And I could just duplicate this over to the other side like this. And there we go. So now our power plug is done, though it's looking a little bit awkward, to be honest with you. think it's just that this thing is a bit, let's take this whole thing and let's scale it down a little bit. Okay, that looks a whole lot better. That made a world of difference right there. Let's take all these polygons here, all these vertices I should say. You see that these actually need to be moved over, something like that. But let's take all of these and let's move them back a little bit. And I'm going to say that I'm happy with that. I'm going to leave that alone. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it like that. I think that's good. I'm going to select all of this and freeze modeling on it. Now what I'm also going to do is I'm going to select the whole thing. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and select this curve and delete it. I'm going to select all this stuff, freeze modeling on it, Alt and right click to merge it into one object. Take the tolerance down, delete the original. Select it, freeze modeling on it. Okay, so this is pretty much finished. So now let's take this object, let's rename it to PowerStrip. Let's go to File, Export, .xsi, hit OK. Make sure you name it correctly. And that's it. Finished.